Hi, it's John Kelly. In this module, we're going to discuss the response to the risk of material misstatement. And as always, we want to be efficient and effective and follow professional standards and document what we've done. And in this section of professional standards, documentation is particularly important. Now, the other thing, I guess, is that if we have done all of the things we were supposed to do, calculating materiality and planning and doing our risk assessment procedures in developing our response to our risk of material misstatement, what we have to do here now should be pretty simple. We're going to develop tests of control or substantive tests. We're going to do appropriate testing. And 330A5 tells us that the nature of the test we select is the most important, not the timing or extent, but the nature of the test. So that's important advice. We need to think about updating interim tests. If we did interim tests of control, there's some hints in A34 as to how we might do that. We might just test the client's monitoring controls. And if it's interim substantive testing that we don't want to update in detail, A54 to 57 give us some hints on how we could do that. And of course, if we had identified significant risks, we will have done extra work on those risks. And we need to evaluate if we've done sufficient appropriate work, and we need to test disclosure as well. Now, here are the specific documentation requirements, and they tie into the requirements of 315 because 315 tells us to do these things, and we're now documenting our responses. So in 315, we had to assess what we thought our overall response would be, and in 330, we document it, and there's some hints in 330A1 to A3. We document the nature, timing, and extent of further procedures, and notice they use the word nature first because it's the most important, and that's presumably in the audit program. We document the linkage of procedures to the risk of material misstatement at the assertion level. Hopefully we do that also in the audit program. And the results and conclusions, if not clear, and again the audit program. This places some pretty high demands on our audit program. What might it look like then? And here's an example. So here's a selection of an audit program for revenues. And we've decided that we wish to trace some invoices to the sales journal and test extensions, the procedures specified there. We've thought about the assertions that it affects, occurrence, accuracy, cutoff, and classification, but not completeness. And we've decided how much that procedure gives us in terms of evidence. And if we do that for every step we do, we can accumulate, add up how much work we have done and compare that to what is required by our assessment of risk of material misstatement for that assertion and determine whether we've done enough work. And also this provides the linkage back to the assessment of risk of material misstatement. So if someone says you assess the risk of material misstatement of occurrence as high, we'll be able to say, well, here are 5 or 6 audit procedures that I did that satisfied, in my professional judgment, my assessment of high. So that's what an audit program might look like, linked to assertions and giving some kind of weight to the audit step so that we conclude whether or not we've done enough work. Other things we have to document are use of prior evidence and that the statements agree to records. And that pretty much takes care of the important things. So thanks for listening. Bye.